Papa 40 and check you rollies. It's Peppo, the dude, and today we are discussing and reacting to Life is Strange's double exposure reveal live stream. I'm very excited to get to this now because if you watched my reaction, you'll know that I was a little conflicted, a little worried. Of course, afterwards I actually thought about it, processed it more. I mean, originally the reaction was over 22 minutes long. I cut out a lot of just me, like, thinking about it. Because something like this, it's a big deal to me, so I had to really consider a lot of what was going to happen and what it would mean, not only for just the game upcoming, but just the whole story in general. And some of that has been laid to bed, some of it hasn't. I have been told this does dive into a few of my worries. So let's sit back and see what they have to say. Definitely like the graphics, the art style.
It's been 3 years since the release of Life is Strange True Colors. Since then, the team at Deck 9 Games have been hard at work on a game, a story and a world worthy of the return of Max Caulfield, beloved star of the very first Life is Strange.
I've been here before.
We knew that this had to be something special. We knew we had to respect the two unforgettable endings to the first chapter of Max's story, while also crafting something new, something fresh that echoed and acknowledged Max's past challenges, even as it moved her personal story forward, welcoming in new players from the very beginning, while giving fans the story they didn't know they wanted. The team have been collaborating, along with our partners at Square Enix External Studios, to bring Max and Caledon University to vivid life. And we couldn't have done it without Hannah, Telle, and the rest of our stunning cast, whose performances elevate and bring nuance to every moment of our story. Together, we've built for you a supernatural murder mystery.
What is this?
Packed full of twists, intrigue, and heart that still delivers on every aspect of Life is Strange's DNA. Meaningful emotional choices driven by your connection to other characters. A diverse and complex cast that reflects the world around us in all its joy, sorrow, and anxiety. Romance, humor, and light even in the darkest of circumstances. For those of you who have played every Life is Strange to date, we can't wait to welcome you back. And for those of you curious about Max and her new adventure, we're delighted to have you join us. Welcome to our deep dive reveal of Life is Strange Double Exposure.
Life is Strange Double Exposure is a thrilling narrative adventure game where you investigate a supernatural murder mystery. You play as Max Caulfield, a photographer and artist in residence at Caledon University, a prestigious college in upstate Vermont. When Max's new best friend, Safi, is found murdered in mysterious circumstances, Max discovers she has the supernatural ability to shift back and forth between two timelines. In one timeline, Safi is dead, but in the other, she's still alive and still in danger.
Oh shit.
Max realizes the killer will soon strike again in both versions of reality. Max and the player will use her new shift power to explore two versions of this vivid winter campus. As you forge allies and pursue suspects across two versions of reality, you'll shape both timelines through your unforgettable choices. But it's a race against time. A relentless detective has Max in his sights, and Safi's killer grows closer with every clue uncovered. With Max's new power to shift between two timelines, can you solve and prevent the same murder?
Wild, right?
Murder mysteries, a narrative genre full of thrilling stories and intense action, scattered with red herrings and the inevitable climactic twist. But what happens when elements of the supernatural become involved, making the mystery at hand seemingly impossible to solve? And how do you write something so complex? I'm chatting with game director Jonathan Stouter and narrative director Felice Kwan to learn how they crafted Life is Strange Double Exposure's supernatural murder mystery. Jonathan and Felice, it is so wonderful to be here with you. How does it feel now that you can finally talk about Life is Strange Double Exposure?
It's definitely been exciting to finally get to talk about what Tech9's been working on these past few years, and we get to talk more about the game today.
We are excited for fan theories about what's going on in the trailer.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of theories. We're going to have a lot of theories, trust me, because a mystery is afoot, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the core premise of the game?
Right. But not just a murder mystery, it's a supernatural murder mystery. What initially starts as a whodunit in terms of the crime very quickly becomes a how could this have even happened? How is this even possible sort of crime? And then you, as the player, as Max, are uniquely suited to use your time powers to solve this crime.
So there's not really any evidence or leads to go by. How do you solve a murder mystery like this? What tools might you have?
Luckily, Max unlocks a supernatural ability. She is able to shift from the current timeline into a parallel timeline where her friend Safi is alive. And fans of the first game will recognize this as kind of an evolution of her rewind power. And why exactly that has happened is at the heart of the story.
What the hell was that?
So if it's at the heart of the story, I think what she's saying, and I'm just saying I think, because she's talking about the why, I think we're actually going to find out how or why her power has evolved. That's interesting, because she just had that one power for a while, being able to rewind and go through, she can rewind what's right in front of her, but she can also take a photo and go back in time. So, obviously just a rewind power in a way, time travel power. Now it's a little bit different because she can go between timelines and stuff, which, as I discussed in my reaction video, is kind of similar to what happens in the comics with her and Chloe.
So my understanding is there are two timelines at play here, one in which Safi is still alive, and the other, she's been murdered. If I'm Max, why don't I just stay in the timeline where she's still alive?
Because Max will very quickly discover the killer is still at large in the timeline where Safi is alive. And so, using her new supernatural abilities, Max will have to both solve and prevent the same crime across two timelines.
Think about this. Your best friend is killed, and you've got these two timelines, right? One where she's killed, one where she's alive. Both still have the murder. Yeah, you could go to the one where she's alive, but what about that one where the killer is still at large? He could kill someone else. So it's kind of like, what's the point of that anyway? You want to catch the killer. And this way you get to catch him twice and save the other Sophie from the other timeline.
This seems like it was very complicated to write.
It was really complicated. It was also very interesting because Max meets essentially two versions of every person that she's investigating, two versions of the environment, and these will both differ in ways that are significant because of Safi's death. It is also kind of bittersweet because even the people that Max is growing closer to, like Moses, there's two versions of him as well, and she needs to navigate that.
The multiple timelines also really lends itself to some interesting gameplay. Mm-hmm. What can we expect?
Well, so Max's ability to shift between the two timelines open up a whole slew of new gameplay possibilities for us. And so Max will be navigating between different versions of the same space impacted by Safi's death, and she'll be able to use these powers to circumnavigate puzzles, discover clues about suspects she might not otherwise have access to, in addition to navigating these different relationships in each space.
Max can talk to the murder victim. She's the only person who can do that, and it's her relationship with Safi that's the key to solving it.
Max has the ability to tear the fabric between these two timelines and instantaneously travel between them. We call it shifting.
That's a lot of responsibility, and that's a lot of power. Where does it come from? Because we know Max to have had powers in the past, right?
Yeah, she actually does not have her rewind powers anymore. She has not used it because of the trauma associated with it and fear of what might happen. And so when Safi is murdered, she can't rewind. It's like losing fluency in a language. But she does care enough about Safi that she's willing to use the new version of her power, the shifting, to try to help her friend. But why that has happened is Max doesn't know. It's kind of at the heart of the story.
But I'm happy that she's not using her rewind power, because let me tell you something. Whether or not she saves Chloe, She says, my powers caused this. We know that the rewinding caused the storm. So as she sacrifices Chloe and saves the town, you would think she never uses her power again. Which is what I was worried. I thought she was going to be using her rewind power in this, and that was kind of what was moving into the alternate timeline thing. That's, with the two timelines. I thought that played into the new power. I thought they were kind of one and the same. That's on me for assuming and not waiting, but it was a reaction. I was reacting to what I was seeing, and what I thought I saw was cash grab. They're making a new game. They're going to forget that the whole reason she sacrificed Chloe was to save the town. So obviously she wouldn't want to use her powers again. So how come, even if she has a new best friend, why would she just go and use her powers? Why would she just turn around and do that after all this stuff? Now it's explained. She's actually traumatized. Or, that trauma, sorry. So she doesn't want to use it, so she stopped using it. And even if so maybe that'll also play into, even if she chose to save Chloe, she still doesn't want to use that power. But I like how she says it's kind of like no longer being fluent in a language. That can happen, but you can also get fluent again. So I wonder if at one point she will relearn. So it's not like she lost the power and then just got a new one. She's at a point where she just can't do it. It's kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Kenobi show. For those of you that don't know, he's a guy who uses the Force, and levitates or stuff. I'm giving you the small version if you don't watch Star Wars. And after a trauma of having to face one of his closest friends and beating him in a duel after a bunch of his friends have died and been killed by the same person, and after having to basically supposedly kill his own brother, he closes himself off from the Force. He never wants to use it again. By the time he starts using it, he struggles. That's kind of what it might be like with Max. Although I think they're just not going to use that. They're just going to go with this, but you never know. Maybe by episode 5 or the end of episode 4, she can rewind again. Who knows? But this makes me happy because now it no longer seems like a cash grab. It seems more like they had another story and they're going to play off of, both endings, which is something I think they, if I remember correctly, they said at the beginning of this is going to follow both endings depending on what you choose. And I like it. I like that we're not using the rewind power. I loved it, but it's going to make people care a lot more. I saw the Facebook comments. A lot of people are like, man, I can't believe we're not going to have that. It's going to make things so much more stressful. Welcome to Life is Strange. See, before we had the rewind power, and it was still stressful, because sometimes we couldn't save people. Kate Marsh. Now we don't have it, so it's going to be even more stressful. Like, every decision is going to count now more than ever. It continues the story while respecting the original, which is what I wanted. I was worried they were just going to have her reuse her rewind power, and there we go. We're back to the same old rerun. But they're not. They're going to respect the original, which to me means so much. So now I'm getting more and more excited for this.
So for returning players like me who made really hard decisions that we now have to live with, do we bring those with us to Life is Strange Double Exposure?
Yes. So the returning players from Max's first adventure will remember that there's a massive decision to make at the end of that game, results in 2 very different endings. And it was really important at Deck 9, if we were going to make another Max adventure, that the game would have to respect both those endings. Life is Strange Double Exposure does that very thing. There's no canon ending in our book to the first game. Double Exposure will respect both endings in Max's thoughts, her journal, her SMS, her interactions with other characters, what she opts to reveal about her past to her new friends. It's all reflective of that final choice.
I'm Hannah Telle, and I play Max Caulfield in Life is Strange Double Exposure.
Hannah, I'm so thrilled that you are back as Max Caulfield in Life is Strange Double Exposure. This is what we've been waiting for. How does it feel for you to return to Max? Probably a lot of emotions, underplay.
Yeah, so many emotions. It's an incredible feeling, and in a certain way, it feels like I'm coming home. I love Max so much, and we have so much in common, and My experience playing her the first time around was so formative in my life. It's a real honor.
I close my eyes and I see Max, like her voice, like you associate it. As soon as I saw the trailer, whenever I first saw the person on the front, I was like, yeah, that looks like Max. But as soon as you hear it in the trailer, you're like, that's Max. It's so cool that she came back.
To get to come back and expand on her story.
How did things feel this time around versus portraying the character in 2015?
Well, she's grown up so much. She was in high school in the first game, and now she's, out of her college years. She has a somewhat prestigious position as an artist in residence at this amazing university, and she has this whole amazing future ahead of her in terms of her artist career as a photographer. And I think that that's really given her a sense of purpose that's motivated her to kind of shed some of the shyness, parts of her introversion that held her back. I think that she's kind of grown out of that, she's more comfortable with who she is, and she feels like, hey, this is who I'm supposed to be.
Be safe, yeah?
When am I not?
She's been suppressing her powers
Yes.
while on the road, and now she's this artist in residence at Caledon in Vermont. Does she still feel like she needs to suppress them, or why did she feel like she needed to suppress them?
Well, the powers resulted in ultimate devastation in her life and everyone's life around her, and even like the space-time continuum with the weather-related phenomenons that were taking place because of her using this power. So she feels like this is like a deadly weapon. It's not something that she's gonna ever want to use again, and also it really sets her apart from having a normal life and having normal relationships with people. So I think she's put that away very confidently, and is very hesitant about ever tapping back into that side of herself again. She doesn't know what could happen. It could even kill her to try to use her powers again.
Whoa.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah. We've caught up with who Max Caulfield is now. What has she been doing in the time between the events of Arcadia Bay to now?
Well, she's been on the road. She doesn't feel comfortable in any one place, and she's living like a nomadic lifestyle, taking photographs of abandoned, lonely spaces. For some reason, anything that's desolate or stark and intense really draws her eye, and she likes to photograph that, and she's made a bit of a name for herself by photographing these types of images. And she searches for them and stays in hotels and hangs out in local watering holes and just kind of absorbs the slice of life of each little town that she's been in. And now she's in a new environment with all new people and a new job responsibility.
And new powers too,
and
right?
New powers.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because fans of the original game, we love the rewind power. We were turning back time, but now time is moving in a different direction.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, as Max has evolved, her powers have evolved. She didn't use that power for a really long time, understandably, because it creates so much devastation. So it atrophied and it adapted into something different.
What if I told you there's this other timeline where Safi is alive and I can travel between this timeline and that one?
How does it feel for you personally, knowing the impact that you've made on fans and the community?
It's just unbelievable to be playing a part that resonated with someone, so many people. It makes me feel so validated and so honored and so grateful. There are so many fans of this game that have created this really loving community where they share their art and they pour their time and energy into creating gorgeous artwork or really intricate creative cosplays. Tattoos. It's etched on their skin permanently because the game changed them, and the game changed me too. So I feel very connected to them, and it moves me to tears all the time.
Let's thrash, Chakabra.
Okay.
I can't believe she said it. She said the thing. I love that this game changed her. This story. It's not a game. It's it's an experience, and it changed her just like it changed so many of us. I'll never forget the first time that I played just before the storm. Before the storm, because I played it there first. And I went over to my dad's, and he was in the garage, and I went on a rant, and I was just crying uncontrollably, and he had no idea what was going on to me. And I'm just telling him about these characters in a game, Rachel Amber and Chloe Price. And then fast forward, I did the same thing again when I played the original, and I consider them both one coin, each the side of the other, and it's just like, he didn't get it. And that's fine. The way some stuff affects us, sticks with us for so long, sometimes it becomes a part of us. Like I said, this game, this story will always be a part of me. Maybe this will be the next part that becomes part of me. Because even though I like 2, it's not something that's going to stick with me forever. 2's a really good story, and I do enjoy it. True Colors, not so much. I'm going to make a video talking about all the stuff I don't like with True Colors later.
Is this about the blue-haired girl whose picture you keep in your wallet?
Wait, you snooped in my wallet?
Stop deflecting. The girl with the blue hair. What's the deal with you two?
I wanted to go back and look at that just to see for sure. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to look at the whole thing. I don't even know how much of this is going to be out. As y'all can see, it's 54 minutes long. I hope this video isn't longer than like 40, 45 minutes. There's a lot I'm going to cut out. I'm not going to look at the whole thing, especially the gameplay. I just wanted to look at part of it. They acknowledge Chloe there, so that's cool. I'm wondering how they're going to go with it. I am hugely, I am definitely excited. I will be pre-ordering, and I'll probably have multiple different versions. I'm probably going to stream on Twitch. I'm probably going to stream on YouTube, and then I'll probably make an edited version of whatever I feel is canon. And leading up to it, since it comes out at the end of October, we only have Life is Strange 2 on the YouTube channel. Maybe it's time for Before the Storm and the original to make it on there, along with True Colors, but that can be later, whatever. Like I said, I'm going to make a video about why I don't like that one later. Now I just got to decide, PS5 or PC. Maybe both. I don't know. I am also looking at the collector's edition and doing an unboxing of that. So there's a lot of stuff. Get ready for the end of the year to just be Life is Strange for me. I'm put at ease. This kind of just took my reaction, was like, no. So I don't feel conflicted now. I'm excited. I can't wait to play this. Do I think it'll be as good as the original or the prequel? I don't think it can because of me. I don't think I can put it above. I can maybe put it a little bit under, or maybe at the same level, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. It's exciting. Do I think Chloe might be in it? Maybe, depending on your choices. Just a phone call, and that's going to be disappointing for a lot of people, but sometimes that's all you need. I think it worked great with Life is Strange 2. So, and then even if you didn't save her, it worked great with like both ways they had her and Max involved was kind of cool. Either you had David talking about her, or you had the phone call, both of which was really cool. As far as her showing up in this, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe there's a credit scene, you never know. Heck, we even got her in True Colors with the DLC, arguably the best part of the game in my opinion. I'm happy that her journal entries are going to change depending on, you know, the choices. So we're going to get a little bit of backstory. We're going to get to see if it leads to the comics or just ignores the comics and goes straight to the game and the choices beforehand or whatever. So that's exciting. It's something to look forward to and stutter about, apparently. I can't wait. I think Max looks good. I think the art style has just completely upped in level. I think the story's going to be pretty good, but we're going to have to wait and see. I wonder how many endings we're going to get. Life is Strange 2 had like 7 or 8. True Colors had like basically the same 2 endings with a few different changes. We're going to have to see. No rewinding this time. So let me know how you feel about that down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this discussion. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 2,000. Heck, we might be at 2,000 by the time this comes out. And until next time, keep the attitude, Shaka Bra.